Hey guys, it's Paradise, and today we have another weapon guide for Monster Hunter Wilds. If you've missed the others, these are quick and easy guides to all of the new weapon features in this game. We'll include handy tips, how you play them, and generally everything you need to know to get started in Wilds. We have a whole host of guides for each of the weapon types on the channel already, so make sure to check out your favorite weapons so you're in the know. Drop a like if you enjoy these and subscribe for more Monster Hunter Wilds coming your way, but if the Heavy Bowgun happens to be your favorite, or you're just interested in learning about its changes, then you're in the right place. Much like its lighter counterpart, it's had a ton of changes compared to previous iterations. So if you like being a slow, impenetrable tank capable of dishing out massive damage both near and far, then you're going to want to keep watching. Well, as mentioned, the Heavy Bowgun has had a bunch of changes that really help round out its playstyle. With a new gauge system, special ammo abilities, and a built-in shield, the Heavy Bowgun is more versatile than before, and while its mobility is still lacking, it more than makes up for it with its offensive and defensive power. Even the mobility issue can be solved in a fairly unique way though. But for now, let's get started with the ignition mode. As mentioned before, this is a brand new gauge system that the Heavy Bowgun gets access to. Pressing circle will put you into this ignition mode, which lets you use your two special ammo types. Using these ammo types will gradually use up your gauge, and when it's empty, you'll automatically switch back to default ammo. The gauge will refill over time but can be sped up by attacking the monster. The special ammo is tied to the specific bowgun you're using, so for the beta we've got access to two. Wyvern Heart as the first, which is much like in the previous games, a rapid-fire style heavy machine gun, which you can continuously shoot by holding R2. Furthermore, the longer you fire for, the more damage you will deal. We found this was a great move for causing wounds on the monster and just overall keeping up that continuous damage. Wyvern Counter is the second, and it's a completely new, awesome move. Pressing triangle while in ignition mode will attach a device to the end of your bowgun, which when detonated will cause an offset effect on an attacking monster. This is essentially kind of like a parry, which can topple a monster if done correctly, so you want to use this just when you're about to get hit. Do note though, it has a bit of a wind up, so it can be difficult to use reactively, but the good news is that holding down triangle will charge it up, giving you extra time to line it up as well as dealing extra damage itself on the hit. Oddly enough, unlike most other offset attacks, this one doesn't have a follow-up, but it can still be a useful tool when you want to topple the monster or block incoming hits. Heavy Bowguns now also have built-in shields by default, letting you defend against incoming attacks. They have an auto-guarding feature as well that automatically blocks attacks as long as you aren't in the middle of an animation. This allows you to get up close and personal with the monster, as long as you're careful not to leave yourself open, and this is excellent for utilizing spread ammo effectively. It's not just all automatic though, because having a shield allows you to perform a perfect guard as well. Pressing triangle and circle together will cause you to raise your guard manually for a short time. If you time this just before a hit, you'll pull off a perfect guard. From here you have a few options. You can press R2 to immediately fire your weapon, although this doesn't seem to have any new properties. Holding L2 for focus mode and then pressing R1 will allow you to do your focus blast, but we'll have more on that a little later. Pressing triangle, however, lets you reload, and X will allow you to do a sidestep. If you happen to already be in ignition mode though, you can also follow up with both of your special ammo type abilities, with R2 allowing you to do Wyvern Heart and triangle doing Wyvern Counter. Guarding enough attacks with the Heavy Bowgun will build up and eventually initiate a power clash with the monster. This is a tug-of-war style minigame where you want to mash triangle in order to win. If you come out on top, you'll fire off several shots into the monster before blasting it back with a final devastating hit. Unlike most of the other weapons though, it seems like the bowgun doesn't have any follow-ups on this, which is a bit of a shame. The Heavy Bowgun in general has benefited from some universal changes, with a big one being an overhaul to the ammo system. It looks like so far there's no new ammo types that we can see in the beta, but all previous types are available to use, and some even have minor changes. Normal, spread, and piercing ammo are all unlimited, and despite some early rumors, they don't interact with the gauge system at all. Heavy Bowgun shares in the change to normal ammo, giving it multiple shots by default, which is the first for Heavy Bowgun. Ammo levels have also been moved to the bowgun specifically, with the bowgun determining what level of shot type it is. Buff ammo types, such as Demon, Armor, and Recovery, now shoot a mine that creates an area of effect on the ground, making them much easier to use and buff yourself or friends. And finally, the spread ammo type no longer shoots in a uniform line, instead you have a box reticule that shows the shot variation. Your focus strike, or focus blast as it's known for bowguns, is Wyvern Howl. Holding L2 for focus mode and pressing R1 will cause you to fire a micro missile. This embeds itself in the monster, and if you hit a wound, will explode, dealing a bunch of piercing damage style ticks. While in ignition mode, you can push this even further by holding R1 in order to charge it up, although this does consume some of your gauge. You can have 3 of these shots in reserve at any one time, and they replenish over time once used. And out of all of the weapons, the Heavy Bowgun is possibly the biggest to benefit from mounted combat. While riding around on your Sacred, you can fire off most of your ammo types just fine, and while there is a bit of a damage nerf compared to being on foot, the added mobility compared with the Heavy Bowgun's impressive range makes for staying mounted valuable in some cases. Although note, you cannot access ignition mode while mounted, but you do have access to pretty much all of your offensive capabilities while riding. This includes the base version of your Focus Blast. Other than that, the Heavy Bowgun doesn't have a dedicated dismount attack, but pressing X to jump off into the air allows you to press triangle to perform a jumping reload attack, which is great for both reloading and building up mount damage on the monster. Once you do manage to pull off a mount though, the Heavy Bowgun has its own suite of attacks available. Its regular mounted attack is a slow but powerful shot that can open wounds. Because of how slow this is though, you want to be careful not to get stuck in the animation while the monster tries to shrug you off. Once you get a wound open though, you can perform a finisher, using your hunter to charge up an even more powerful shot before blasting the monster for a ton of damage. So now you know all of the major changes to the Heavy Bowgun. Let us know if you plan to main this weapon and what you're most excited about down in the comments. Be sure to check out the other guides on the channel that we have already, and subscribe for more Monster Hunter coming your way very, very soon.